Trying to get a reaction. Hello, everybody. Tom here. Hope you're all well. I want to talk today about how sometimes people will say things to try and provoke a reaction, and this is in a positive way, it's not in a negative way. Okay? Think of it like the age old negative reinforcement. The military system uses this quite a lot. So, somebody will say something about you to try and make you prove them wrong. And I'll give you an example of this. When I was in school many, many years ago, yeah, a while back now, I had a school teacher, and he was maths teacher, and I struggled with maths a hell of a lot. He used to have a really strange style in what he used to do. He would make people dislike him, and with the way he used to behave, the way he used to say things to them, and that would make them very determined to prove him wrong. So he would doubt your ability, probably talk you down a little bit, and that would then spur that person on to try and prove otherwise. Bit of a crazy way of working, but it seemed to get him results, and his scores from his students were quite high. So definitely his way of working worked for him. It doesn't work for everybody, and it doesn't always produce the result that you want with everybody. Some people can take things quite personally and don't sort of grasp the whole concept of what it is that someone's trying to do with this. But I've seen it many a time and in different ways as well. So obviously in the military, you've seen it in films, people shouting at other individuals, talking them down. And it does make you, perhaps, if you're strong enough to accept it, want to prove that person wrong if you've got anything about you. So it can also have a negative effect, obviously, being given that sort of level of grief. But this definitely is an interesting thing that people will do to get provoke a reaction, a positive one. So literally, sometimes in life, you'll be pushed into a situation where you are back against the wall, where it is fight or flight. I've been in that situation before where things weren't going well at a job, and the boss basically gave me a talking to, hinting that if performance doesn't improve, we're probably going to be looking at terminating your contract, etc., etc. This was it was years ago, and admittedly, true to form, like anybody who's been backed into the corner, I came out swinging, I came out fighting, and I was fine. I wasn't let go of. And he did actually say to me on the meeting afterwards, "Your reaction was fantastic." But I can't help but feel, but his words was there to try and provoke that reaction. And then sometimes it's not always in what somebody says; it can be in what somebody does. And I'll give you another example here, which is not something I'd recommend doing, but it worked for this individual. So when I used to play football years ago, my brother's friend, Craig, his name was quite a good footballer. But for him to play well, he had to be interested. He was one of these who his form was patchy. When he'd turn it on, he'd be fantastic. He'd do some amazing things with the football. But when he wasn't in the mood or not interested, he'd be awful. He'd be like playing with one less player. However, there was a way to get him interested. My brother used to say this. My brother said, "You've got to wind him up. You've got to wind him up physically." I says, "What are you on about?" I says, I used to, he said, "I used to punch him in the stomach before games. I'd run up to him and I'd give him a belt in the stomach, a hard punch in the stomach, to try and get him up for the fight." And sure enough, he'd then go on to play a game and he would absolutely destroy the opponent, scoring multiple goals and playing out of his skin. It's crazy to think that sometimes that's what it takes to start somebody up. But everybody's different. I wouldn't recommend that for everybody you talk them down, you make them hate you, and you try a negative reinforcement tactic to provoke a positive reaction, because not everybody is going to react in a positive way. Some people would take it quite personally to be told that and would not actually behave the way you want them to. And I wouldn't recommend punching someone in the stomach to get him to play football. However, for that individual, it worked. So the point I'm trying to make here is, sometimes when somebody will say something, whether that be at work, whether that be in a relationship, whatever, a friendship group, team, whatever it is, I wouldn't always take what they say at the face value of perhaps how you think it's meant. Try and consider that actually there's something a bit deeper about what they're saying. Instead of them beating around the bush, I know a lot of people just want to be given it straight. Sometimes someone won't give it you straight. They will give it in a roundabout way. And their reasons for doing so will be to get a reaction or a rise out of you in a positive way. It can also be in a negative way. There are people that do that as well. But in this case, it's to try and get you to react in a way that's good, to get the desired reaction from you and action from you. Just bear that in mind next time you think somebody's having a go at you or being unfair. What they actually might be doing is trying to give you the G up you need. Guys, first 3 videos. I want to say thank you all ever so much for listening. I really appreciate your time and energy spent here on my channel. Thank you kindly. First of 3, as I said, please put down in the comment section below, what are your thoughts on this? Have you ever had a situation where perhaps somebody was doing everything they could to almost put you down, and if you didn't know any better, you'd think they were being cruel, when actually what they were trying to do, they was trying to get that reaction out of you? Believe it or not, it's probably more common than you'd know, and it's probably very hard to recognise sometimes when someone is trying to do this, or if that's their way of getting a result. Everybody's different in the way they try and do things. Please, if you would, consider hitting that subscribe button down below. Please consider giving me a thumbs up and a like, that'd be really great. And let's hear that bell sign go ding dong so you know my next content's out. I will be back in a couple of days with another video, as always. But until then, please take care of yourselves and bye for now.